What's up, gang? It's Doomver with Look at the Trees, and I have found some mushrooms today. Um, and we're gonna use our technique of using the National Audubon Society Field Guide to North American Mushrooms. We will be using it to identify these mushrooms that I have, and I'm hoping you can see the color. That is a purplish, like a purplish, grayish, almost like it's a strange color. It's a purplish, grayish, brownish color. Even on the cap, I don't know if I can get. I mean, it looks a little bit brown in the camera. I don't know, but it is brown in real life, but it has a purple tint to it. So anyway, on to trying to identify these guys and gals and non-binaries or whatever they might be. So first off, the location I found them at was at a state park here nearby, and it was in some white oaks in the forest. It was on the ground in the forest floor litter and debris, I guess you would call it. And if you can see right there, that is a acorn cap right there stuck to the bottom of it. So that's an indicator that it was amongst some oak trees. But yeah, so there's that. And what we're going to do, we're going to set ourselves up to make a spore print with this smaller one here. I think I have this cup I'm going to put over it, and I'll go through how to do that here. I'm going to put the camera up so we can see what I'm doing. But first off, I wanted to look in my book here. Sorry, got my fingers in the way. And this is to identify the cap shape. So we got convex, check. It's convex. So it's similar to this. Now we go down here. Knobbed. Nope, there's none of that. They're pretty smooth across the top. Surface smooth. No flakes or flecks or any things like that. Go to the next page. And we go, oh, what's this say? Spacing of the gills. There are no gills. As you can see, this is a polypore. It has a spongy, porous material instead of gills. So that's what we got. We don't have gills. And then here it says attachment to the stalk. There is no attachment to the stalk. They're talking about a veil or a partial veil. There'd be a ring here and some material that used to connect to the cap. So you see that here, rings, yeah. Rings, attachment to the stalk. Oh, no. I apologize. The attachment to the stalk is gill attachment to the stalk. There are no gills, so we don't really have to worry about that, I don't believe. But, well, actually, no. I take that back. Because that doesn't specify gills. But if we're looking, it's, I would say, not attached because there's a margin, like a 1/4 inch margin that goes around there. But you'll see here in a second when I do the spore print. And then we don't have any of this, oh, come on, camera, focus for me. No, like, remnants of a veil or any remnants left. Now, rooting, it does have like a bulbous stem, if you can see there, like it's skinny and then comes up and kind of bulbs out at the bottom. And then, yeah. So that's what we got as far, and well, that's how these are. But that's not focusing on the stem yet. Then that's, talks about shelf mushrooms, stalkless. That may be, let's see, gilled, chanterelles, puffballs. So, yeah, I went over the rest of this stuff, So then, excuse me, what we're going to do is look through here at our little tabs on the edge. You can see that's a little capped guild mushroom, so that's not what we're looking for. Continuing with those, fold through. That's got gills represented on the little tab. Also gills on the tab. Running through them, looks like a lot of gills. So here we go. Now let's go back to the beginning here, because these, well, let's say that might be, we are close to the beginning. So yes, here we go. Now that says boletes and others. So let me read that to you, and I'll try to focus in so you can see it. Boletes are fleshy mushrooms that typically have a central stalk. All have fertile, does that say fertile? Yes, fertile surface composed of small pore-like openings, which are the mouths of tubes where the spores are produced. The bolete family contains a few toxic species. It also includes the largest number of safe edible mushrooms in North America. One, the king bolete, is perhaps the most prized of all edible mushrooms. Also included here are a few stalked, fleshy polypores. Excuse me. So yeah, stalked, fleshy polypores, and the pine cone. Does that say pine cone? Yes, it does. The pine cone tooth. The cap width is given in the captions. Okay. I thought I was reading that wrong, but okay. So now we're going to thumb through and try to find something that looks similar to these. And when I picked them at first, like this is starting to stain a brownish color, so I'm assuming that's the spore color. We will still get a spore print from them, but they were white. They were very white when I first picked them, when they were fresh. This one's still kind of white. So let's see. I'm going to move the camera up so I can talk to you guys better and look through my book a little bit better. So I will put my camera up here and sit down, and I will try to find which one we've got here. So there's a large variety of these, and it looks similar. I got two here that are very similar in looks to that. So I'm going to put my finger here on this page. I definitely saw some of those today. But I focused on this particular species because they kind of stand out being purple, and they're a big, dense, meatier feeling mushroom. So I was hoping if it's edible, perhaps I can try some of them tonight or tomorrow. Well, I'll bring the book up, show you. These are my guesses. We have this one and this one. Now, this one is the lilac brown bolete. The bottom one is the violet gray bolete. So then we look to the corresponding numbers of the pages, and we will flip through, and I will go back and I will read what the characteristics are, where they're found. Also, it's summer. It is the end of July. So that is also something you need to take into consideration when you're trying to identify these. So now let's look up the lilac brown bolete, and it is page 592. The cap size is 2 to 4 3/4 inch. Now, this one, the width of my palm is about 4 inches. So this is 4 3/4 inches. I saw them bigger than this. So that's something that I take note of now. So I think that, now it could be possible, but the violet gray bolete is 1 5/8 to 6 inches. That would be more along the lines of what I saw. So I'm kind of leaning towards the violet gray now, just because of cap size. But that doesn't mean anything. So I will continue to look at the lilac brown bolete on page 592. And we will see right here, it says dry purplish tinted brown cap. Well, dry purplish tinted brown cap with brownish pores and densely granular brownish purple stalk. Densely granular. It's sounding like this. Wide, the cap is 2 inches to 4 3/4 inches, 5 centimeters to 12 centimeters wide, round becoming broadly convex to nearly flat, dry, tacky to slimy in wet weather, some pitted, chocolate brown with purplish overtone, with distinct bloom at first, flesh whitish becoming grayish to pinkish. So whenever we do our spore print, we will split it open and look and see. Or actually, I could probably do that right now. Well, to get the spore print, I'm going to pop the stem out, the flesh. So we can look at the stem here and see how the description tells us. Let me keep my book open here, because we're going to cover this cap with the coffee cup to get our spore print. But here, if you can see where it's getting brownish around the edge, but it's very bright white in there, and that's what they were describing in the book. So we're going to take this, place it pores down, and cover it with our cup. And that's how we're going to start with getting our spore print. But, okay, now, flesh whitish becoming grayish to pinkish. So we'll pay attention to that, because we got white flesh out here on the end of this. So you can see that, and we'll see if that turns grayish to pinkish while we're talking here. And then it says tubes attached, sunken around the stalk, or nearly free. That's what I was saying, where it looks like it's nearly free around there, about 1/4 inch. There's a margin. Becoming grayish to pinkish. Okay, pores, chocolate brown with purplish tint, darkening with age. We've got that happening also. Purplish tint, densely marked with minute purplish scales, at times streaked. I think they're talking about the tubes here. Spores 11 to 17 by 3.5, elliptical, spore print, reddish brown. Edibility good. Season June to October, so we're good there. Peaking in August, so we're going into August. That sounds pretty good. Now it says habitat on the ground under eastern hemlock, also spruce and balsam fir. Now there were some dead conifer trees out there, so I'll take that into consideration. It says the range is from Maine to Georgia, west to Michigan. So that I'm in Ohio. That includes me. Have a sip of coffee here. Grows in deciduous woods. All right. Oh no, these are lookalikes that I'm looking at. Less brown and very bitter. The lilac brown bolete is a good edible species, often found in abundance. All right. So we looked at that one, and it sounds pretty close, pretty similar. But there was the other one we were looking at. Find it again. And it is the violet gray bolete. So now we're going to look back here to 594. So it's only a couple pages over from the previous one we looked at. All right. Violet gray bolete. It is dry violet cap with cream pores, becoming pinkish to smooth. Pinkish and smooth. Violet stalk. Cap is 1 5/8 inch to 6 inches, 4 centimeters to 15 centimeters wide, convex, becoming nearly flat. Similar, that's pretty much identical to the other. Darkening to gray, purple, then brownish. Flesh white. Discoloring slightly, if at all. Tastes very bitter. This does not taste bitter. So that may eliminate this. It may be our the one previous. So it says flesh white, discoloring slightly, if at all. Taste very bitter. It does not taste bitter at all. So I think that eliminates the violet gray bolete. Tubes attached and sunken around the stalk. Cream becoming purplish, tan, pores whitish, tan, purplish tan. Pores whitish, becoming pinkish. Smooth, sometimes faint webbing at the top of the stalk. Mottled, dark violet, paler toward the base. It is not paler towards the base. Faintly webbed at the top, paler towards the base. Late June to September, on the ground, deciduous, and the borders near oak, hickory, and aspen. Quebec to Florida, west to Minnesota and Texas. That also includes me. Beautiful mushroom is unfortunately too bitter to eat. So this, I don't believe this is it. Because, as I said, there's a bit of the flesh. Let me see if I can show you. I don't know if you could see me down there. I won't know until I re-look at the video. But I tasted that bit of flesh there. I put it on my tongue. I'll do it again. All right. Now that I took a bite of it, it is bitter. So I think we found our culprit. So now, see, now that is very interesting. I'm glad I did this video because those two are very similar. And it seems to me that they're very similar, and the only thing that really distinguishes them is the bitterness. But now, since this says on the ground in deciduous woods and borders near oak, hickory, and aspen, those trees are what I found that in. I found those in white oak trees. Now, the other one said that would be found in, conifers. It described eastern hemlock, which is like a pine tree looking thing. So yeah, unfortunately, we did not find the edible version because this one is very very bitter. So that would be, it is not the lilac brown, which is Tylopilus or Tylopilus eximius. It is not that one. It is Tylopilus plumbeoviolaceus. Boleticus agaricales. Boleticae agaricales is the other. No, they're both in the same thing there. So yeah. Unfortunately for my frying pan, this is not the edible version. But fortunately for you guys, you got to see me do the testing. And I will still spore print it for my own satisfaction. But yeah, you got to see how I go about identifying a mushroom in order to see if it is good for consumption. So, with that said, I appreciate you guys. Please like the video if you like it. Ask me any questions that you can think of. And until next time, get out and look at the trees.